Hey, what is going on, Rudder Nation? This is Jerry from Beyond the Rut, the host of the show. And that's really for the people who are new here. If you've been listening for a number of weeks, months, years, thank you. And you already knew who I am, and I'm sorry about all that. But this is another segment of Jerry's Short. These are the shorter episodes I publish later in the week that are really just a short, down and dirty, practical tip that you can apply to help you create the life you dreamed of living so that you have a life of meaning in your faith, your family, and your career. Now, this week's episode, at the time I'm recording this and releasing this Jerry Short, I had a conversation with Richard Friesen, and that's episode 382. So you just look up beyondtherut.com/382, or if you're on your podcast player, you just go to the previous one. And the great thing about that conversation with Richard is that he shared a limiting belief that he woke up with. Like, he just woke up and he had this epiphany, like, holy moly, I'm only worth $200,000. Now, this was a stock trader who should have been making a lot more than that. So that realization that he had certain mindsets in place that he was deeply entrenched in that was limiting the amount of money he could earn for pretty much the rest of his career. And if that was the case, then what was the whole point? Why was he working the long hours, commuting, and so on, and sacrificing time with his family? So something had to change. He made those changes. Go check out that episode, 382. That's with Richard Friesen. And the best way to get to it is beyondtherut.com/382. Or if you're on your player, just listen to that one right after this conversation. So what I wanted to bring up in this segment, this short, is 3 questions you can ask yourself to identify and start tackling the limiting beliefs that you have for yourself. And this comes from a longer list that I have, which is titled 10 Questions to Help You Identify Your Limiting Beliefs. I'll give you the information at the end of this segment on how you can get that whole list for free. But I wanted to share with you the top 3 questions that can get the ball rolling and get the juices flowing in your mind to get you to realize, you know what, that is a limiting belief. Why is that there? And how do I get rid of it? So you got to know it's there so you can take action to eradicate it. You know, in the military, we call it intelligence, and you might hear a lot of jokes about intelligence, but the reality is, in the military, every mission is built off as much information as we can get our hands on, and then that way we're making educated guesses on filling the blanks. Same thing when you're tackling your limiting beliefs. So the first question I want to throw your way is, what belief has held you back the most? Now think about that. What belief has held you back the most? And it might not be obvious at the start, but when you start thinking about the areas of your life that you thought you would see success, maybe it's your career, maybe it's in your finances, maybe it's in a promotion that you're passed up on, or if there's like some tension going on in your relationships, there's a limiting belief in there that is keeping you from taking that first step to explore for more information, to get more perspective on the situation. So think about that. What limiting belief has held you back the most? You can pause this, give yourself some time to think about that. When you have that eureka moment, write it down and then come back and hit play. So the second question. So I'm assuming you hit pause, you wrote your eureka moment down, or you just kept listening and you're like, oh, I'm driving, I can't. I understand. I don't want you to die on your way to work or your way to home, because what's the point in that, right? It's like, I got the download, but you died, and I don't want that. I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. I might be a little hyper from lunch. Just roll with it. It's cool. It's cool. You're getting all of me, unfiltered. I'm not even going to edit this stuff out. This is it. Squirrels and all. Second question. Why do you believe this? So the first question was, what belief has held you back the most? Second question, why do you believe this? So normally when it comes to coaching, I like to keep things future focused and ask you what questions, get you thinking about opportunities and alternatives. But for this one, I'm gonna dip my toe just close enough to those counseling waters to not get into trouble, but you ask yourself the question, why do you believe this? Did it come from somebody else in your family life? Is it something you heard repeated over and over in school? I went to a high school, which, by the way, I was on a college prep track when I was in high school, only to have the career counselors, the guidance counselors, trying to talk me out of it, try to talk me into getting work experience to work in a hotel and do housekeeping for the rest of my life, or to cater events. And there's nothing wrong with these things. However, if you have somebody who's on a trajectory to go to college, to be a community leader, to be a professional of some kind, what is it that's making you say, talk them out of it, and you're not worthy of these professions? And looking back, I let a lot of these things seep in. No matter how much I said I wrote a vision when I was 14, and I pushed myself beyond a lot of the comfort zones and limits our family had on ourselves, I still have limiting beliefs that I'm tackling all the time. So it's important to just dig deep. Where did those come from? Why are they there? And once you understand that, you're able to say, you know what, but that's not where I want to go. That's not what I want to hold on to anymore. I'm going to draw a new line in the sand. I'm going to say I'm going to go that way instead. That's my new path. So that's why that second question is so important. Now, hopefully you pause, you take some time to go ahead and reflect on that as well. And then when you have that idea of where this came from, come on back. All right. So again, either way, you probably paused it and did the homework and came right back, or you just said, let's blow through this, Jerry. So the third question I want to share with you is, what evidence proves your belief to be wrong? So maybe you're telling yourself, I can't ask my boss for opportunities for growth in my career because I haven't been here as long, or because there are smarter people around here. There's evidence that will also tell you you're the right person to ask for opportunities, to ask for a new project that's going to grow you and stretch you and give you exposure and experience that's going to make you the best candidate for when a promotion does come along. So again, what evidence do you have that proves your limiting belief to be wrong? It's there. Now, I'd say go ahead and pause, think about it, and come back, but I'm really going to wrap up right now. So those are the three questions. What's a belief that's held you back the most? Why do you believe this? And what evidence do you have that proves that belief to be wrong? I think if you start with those three alone, you're going to have an aha moment, and it's going to allow you to start thinking about that future that you want. It's going to get you to start thinking about how do I get to the place I do want? Now that I've identified these limiting beliefs, how do I eradicate them and replace them with unlimiting beliefs or propelling beliefs? Things that are going to support your growth and your success, so that you create a life that's worth living in your faith, family, and career. So if you want the other 7 questions from this handout, go check out this link, beyondtherut.com/limiting beliefs. That's with an FS at the end. Okay. Not believes, beliefs. And I'll put it in the notes for wherever you're listening to this. So if you're listening to this on an app, just scroll down a little bit. You'll see that link, beyondtherut.com/limiting beliefs. I'll also put the link to the show notes, which this is Jerry Short number 21. So it'll be beyondtherut.com/JS021. But we're talking about the handout. I'd rather you get the handout in your hands. So beyondtherut.com/limiting beliefs. There we go. So we covered 3 questions to help kind of open your mind to what limiting beliefs are holding you back right now. And we even talked a little bit through how to eradicate those and start to replace them with thoughts that are going to reinforce your propelling onto a new path. And then I also told you where to find the full checklist or the full list of questions to walk you through the entire process to really eradicate these limiting beliefs. And then again is at beyondtherut.com/ you got it, limiting beliefs. Now, did you really say limiting beliefs out loud? Because, I'm on a podcast, and, it kind of makes me feel good if you talked back, because I do that to shows too. I promise you, I do. I laugh out loud. I don't just say LOL with small caps. I really do laugh out loud when I say LOL. Okay, that's not true. Sometimes I think I'm laughing out loud, but nothing comes out. But that's not important. What's important is we talked about limiting beliefs. I showed you where to get the full list of questions to help you walk through that process to eradicate those beliefs. And I'm just going to stop now. You work on that, and then we'll be back for another episode in a few days. All right, guys, until next time, go live life beyond the rut. Take care.